Today we're going to do the second stage of the what we've been calling the Humvee Duramax swap or Humvee Duramax conversion. The last session we took, of course, the body off of the Humvee and showed you kind of like some of the basics that you need to support that. And during that time we talked about more in-depth video as far as the installation of the system. So at this time you should have, of course, your body off the vehicle, and we went ahead and took the old drivetrain out, the old 6.2 or 6.5 or whatever 6 it is. It's gone now. And in order to do that, I mean, now that we're looking at the towers where the engine bolted, there's 2 bolts on either side. This is the right, this is the left. There's 2 there, 3/4. Take those out. And then you have this cross member. It's not this cross member. This is actually the one for the Duramax diesel that we're going to install. And you can, of course, we supply this from hlineconversions.com. You can buy the mounts and everything else that you need, or all of it, or some of it, whatever that you want from it. We'll sell it to you. We have no problem doing that. We'll also help you. Of course, that's why we're shooting the video, so that you feel comfortable in doing this. And it's not a big thing. It's just an old Hummer. So, anyways, we went ahead and removed the old 6.5 cross member, installed the Duramax diesel one, and of course before we can get the 6.5 out of there, we unbolted the 2 bolts where they set right here, popped all that stuff out, and in order to install the new cross member, you got 2 bolts on either side, 13/16. I can't remember if they're top or bottom, big bolts. Take those out, bolt in your new cross member, and when you bolt it in there, you're going to find out that sometimes the cross member won't fit, and that's because of the what we call the 1 inch error rule in the Humvee. This thing's got a 1 inch error. It's not precision at all. It's just big mechanical. So sometimes you might have to take well, if you have the luxury of like a quarter power, you can put it between the frame rails and spread it out a little bit. If you don't, just a simple hard jack and some blocks or whatever, spread it out. But if you do, like this one here, just dropped right in. Apparently this vehicle was, well, of course it was like in perfect shape for a Humvee. Normally they come and beat up and rusted out, but this one's perfect shape. So it dropped right in, just 21 inches center configuration that it should have. And when you bolt that in there, there is some adjustment in this cross member. Go ahead and shift all the adjustment to the left-hand side. What we wanted to accomplish is getting that cross member, or getting the drive shaft, that we're going to show you how to install that, but get that drive shaft as far away from that fuel tank. On the Humvees, it's really tight, and now we're even going to a larger drive shaft in the rear, so it's even tighter. So we want to get everything over to the left side as much as possible. At this time, I'm going to have Brennan going to lift up this 1,600-pound Duramax drivetrain here at the e-charger facility, and we thought it was really cool because it was an actual foundry where they melted metal down and stuff like that. They had this chain hoist. Normally we just use a forklift for that, but we decided, you know what, we're just going to lift it up with this chain hoist and stuff, and it's all mechanical, so it's very simple. But go ahead and lift that up. I wouldn't want to be. I've been on the end of that chain many times. It's not a fun thing. We got an issue. So it seems like the motor is further forward than it should be for this drivetrain. All right. Hey, Brennan, you want to come over here and move the legs on the lift? So if you can't bring the motor to the frame, you can bring the frame to the motor. Let it get you.
Right there.
All right, Brennan. We've got some chain for you here. looks like the back's going to go in first, so go ahead and get the drivetrain slid over a little bit to the left. There we go. Alright, come on down. Okay, let's better float. You guys got your front lined up there?
Pretty close.
Okay. Well, you know, something that we didn't talk about, and that was the front engine towers. Now, we went ahead and bolted the adapters on there, so I'm going to come around here and explain what you have to do on that. So, in the kit, of course, coming with the cross member, is the left and right, what we call the engine tower adapters. Now, this is the original Humvee engine isolator, engine mount, okay? But between that and the engine is an adapter. So what you do is, like, if you got your used drivetrain from somebody other than us, you want to take and remove the factory Duramax engine mounts completely from there, and this adapter will just bolt to the block. Very self-explanatory. It's 4 bolts go into the block. You take off the old rubber isolator from your 6.5 or 6.2 that you took out of there, bolts to it, and fits everything great. So of course, left and right, do that, and you're ready to drop this thing in. So go ahead and come on down. Okay, so now the drivetrain, well, the Duramax drivetrain is now installed in the Humvee frame. This is actually the 2010, what they call the LMM style drivetrain. This is what we normally would supply to anybody who's doing a Humvee or H1 Hummer. It's the 6.6 Duramax LMN 2010, coupled to the 6-speed Allison M1000 transmission, and a selectable 2-high, 4-high mechanical shift transfer case. So when you buy the drivetrains from us, sure, you can go out there and save a little bit money, you know, buying it from a local yard or whatever, but we have a very reputable yard. Not saying that there's not a lot of them out there, but we do compression inspection, we'll go clean up, we'll change all the filters and go through and do all kinds of stuff. Compression checks, you know, everything necessary to support this to where we feel good about it. And of course, then we refinish it as well, you know, and stuff like that. Transfer case side, we always use a reman or a new one, depending on the application, just because there was a lot of issues with the earlier style, which is earlier style transfer case, with the pump wear issue and stuff like that. So, you know, it's hard to find used low mile transfer case, you know, in those eras. So, you know, we'll just go through it and do our thing, or have it remanufactured like in this case. So now that drivetrain's in, some of the things that we want to talk about is, of course, you know, you need to bolt it down. 2 bolts in the front, either side. By now you probably know where those bolts are, and probably can write your own book on it, on taking them off. So same mounts that you had before when you took the 6.5 out, same mounts that are here now on the Duramax. Back side, you got the 2 same kind of style of bolts or whatever that you use to bolt that the transmission mount up and stuff. Go ahead and get all those tight. Pay note to the distance between the frame rail and the transfer case here. I'm basically just putting my finger there. That's a good indication that you don't have a lot of twist in your frame or something else is weird, you know, on the fit and finish of the vehicle. So, you know, drivetrain's in. Now we're going to go ahead and show you a couple of the other components that comes in the kit if you buy it from us, or if you buy the parts individually, and or if you want to have the stuff made yourself, which I assure you, if anybody can save us a buck on supplying these things, I mean, we'd be happy to entertain your drive shaft guy. But we build them all new. We don't mess around trying to use half the old one, half the new one, and all that kind of stuff. This all wore out. So Mark's going to go ahead and slip in the front drive shaft the way that we made it. You'll see it's a little bit different. It does have the same original carrier, but it has some of our proprietary, what I call anti-vibration technology in it, because in the early days there was a lot of drive shafts out there on the front side when you put it 4-wheel drive high. I mean, it'd shake the teeth out of your head, so, or knock the glasses off of you. But we've corrected all that in the design, and it supports up to, well, we've run over 1,800 foot-pounds of torque through these type of systems, so it seems to work really well. Tony's back here with the rear drive shaft, short and fat, has the reverse slip yoke, all brand new stuff, has the series for the Humvee on the backside conversion joint, or in this case the end yoke is the same conversion size for the rear side of this, but does 3-inch casing, handle all the power that you need. Got to remember, it's a Humvee, it's not a pickup truck or whatever. You know, you've got a differential. That's fine, that looks great, Mark, thank you. You got a differential here that's very high geared, and people get all weird about it, like, well, how do you do that and not break stuff? Well, at the wheel we have a 2-to-1 gear reduction. You know, so that differential doesn't see any load associated with torque. It doesn't even know it's there, you know, so that's the luxury. Everything's multiplied at that geared hub, and that geared hub, I've been asked many times, like, oh, do I need to replace my geared hubs? No. I mean, they're like tractor gears. I mean, these things are like inch and a half thick. I mean, just big, nasty gears in there and stuff like that. You'll be totally fine. We send these out the door all the time at 800 foot-pounds of torque. Even with the stock axles, like it's in this vehicle, no problems whatsoever. There is one problem, though. Differential. For some weird reason, on the Humvees, they decided to use a type of locker, and I can't even tell you what that locker is. I can just tell you that it doesn't last and it's no good. So, you know, you can have someone local put a Detroit locker in there, which is great. It fixes the problem, but it does give the Hummer a weird feeling, because every time that you apply torque to the vehicle, which is stuck on the throttle, especially if you're going around a corner, it feels like the whole vehicle's shifting. So, you know, you can go to a softer style locker if you want. You know, for our big motors and stuff, I mean, the Detroit's the way that we do it. But, you know, if you're looking for, you know, maximizing your driving capability with just our standard drivetrain, I would go to a softer locker, and we plan on offering that locker as well. We're playing with different types and different versions right now, so we'll come up with the solution for you. Or if you got the solution, by all means, just holler at us. We'll try it. We don't mind trying things, so that's what we do best. Another thing that we offer, or supplied in the kit, or you can buy individually, will be the shifter linkage. And of course, you got the old shifter lever here on the side of the transmission. That comes off. Tony, go ahead and pop that on there. This is a 3-piece linkage. It's very simple. Can you do a cable? Sure, I've heard that many times, but by the time that you get your cables and get your little adjustments and all that kind of setup, it just, I mean, it's not even worth it. This is mechanical, just like it was on there before. This slides on here. It's not cogged at all, so you can actually, it gives you the luxury of adjusting, you know, where that you want this to hit best for your application. And yes, it works great with the Humvee shifter as well. I mean, because a lot of people ask, like, well, my Humvee shifter, do I have to change that? It only has like, I think they have like reverse, neutral, drive, and a couple of gears or whatever. No, not at all. It'll still lock in on the things that are specific, like, for example, park. You definitely want to lock on that. And drive, you want to lock on that. Everything else is highly overrated to have a lock on. So it works great with the Humvee shifter, or if you want to update it to something else, then that's fine as well. But this linkage is designed for the Humvee style shifter, so that you don't have to replace it. You can always make something better, but, you know, it works great for our application. So at this point in time, we're going to go ahead and show you the exhaust side of the system. We're not going to bolt it on there. We're just going to kind of slip it on. It's very simple. We have a downpipe that's 3 to 4. You know, for our standard package, if you're getting into the bigger motors and stuff, like, you know, more performance, bigger turbo, yeah, we'll just give you a 4 down. You know, that's no biggie. Or if you want a 4 down, that's fine too. It doesn't matter. Believe me, throughout the years I've tried, you know, the whole EGT theory and everything else on the exhaust. You got to remember, this exhaust here is less than 6 foot tall. You know, it doesn't. That 3 to 4 doesn't kill it at all. I mean, the standard exhaust system on a Duramax pretty much works well anyway. So let's see if I can if I'm smart enough to put this together. So your 3 to 4 goes together. That piece slides into here. You take this, go up to the turbo, pop that in there. You put your V-band clamp on that. This is going to run over here like this, hanging off the side. It's going to be close to the frame rail. And then you're going to have the tailpipe, which is just your standard issue style for the, you know, like a regular Humvee style. And of course, this one here, there is not our production. It doesn't have the little brackets and stuff and everything on it, but essentially this is what you can expect you know, that's it. Dumps in the same place, uses the same type of clamps and everything as the original factory. An exhaust system, no frills. This is the luminized version. If you want stainless or something fancy or pretty, we can give that to you. If you want it wrapped, I mean, that's fine. You know, we can wrap it for you, or you can just buy a wrap or whatever. So you'll notice that this missing something. It's called a muffler. You don't need a muffler. The turbocharger is like the world's best muffler. It muffles all the sound. Actually, the Duramax is very, very quiet with this exhaust system on it until you get into the turbo a little bit. Then you're going to hear that really cool whistle sound like you do on a jet. You know, to me that's fine. I mean, you don't hear it inside the cab, but you know, it's kind of a cool factor, whatever. It's a diesel. So if you want a muffler, we can add the muffler into it, but we don't necessarily even use them anymore. If you want a water forward version, unlike the Humvees, the Civilian has a water forward. The muffler sets up in here and stuff, and that'll be able to drop down on it. So those are basically the key components to do the conversion. You know, from the Duramax to the Humvee. The Duramax into the Humvee would be in the kit comes the engine mounts, very simple to bolt on, stuff like that. You got the cross member, simple. Drop that dude in there, bolt everything up. Put your shifter linkage on, leave it loose for now, get your drive shafts in or whatever. Usually we'll put the fuel tank and stuff. We're just talking about this session, the conversion, but and then your exhaust system, and you're good to go. Johnny Magic here at eCharger Systems. We'll see you.